Hi everyone. This is a introduction to the wisdom transmissions. So you'll start to see these in the blog and video section of my website, sharonlawson.co.uk. And I decided to share these wisdom transmissions because, 2021 to 2022, September to September, are the choice points year for all of humanity. And part of my choice point was to recognize the circulatory nature of things. And so I had accumulated quite a lot of wisdom through journaling and through my journals. And I felt like this was the right time to start to share this information with others and to circulate this information. So um, I just don't have the time to implement all the great ideas and all this wonderful wisdom that's come to me. And I felt like this was the time to share it so that you can do with it what you will. So, just to be really super clear, this is not my wisdom. I don't claim to have it. It's not mine. It doesn't belong to me. Um, I ask a lot of questions of the universe, and the universe answers. So that's why I'm sharing it. It's not mine. It's not mine to keep. Um, but I've been journaling for a very long time, and a lot of answers have come through to me. So I wanted to be able to pass these on. I have not doctored them in many ways. The only thing I really change is the grammar because obviously I'm writing it, I'm channeling it. Sometimes the grammar or the understanding isn't very clear, so I would change the grammar. But apart from that, I keep them intact because, again, they're not my words. Um, I will add some context where required, some extra discussion from me, and maybe even some practice points how to practice this, whatever has come through. It will be made very, very clear what is me and what is not me. Like I say, I have a lot of integrity around this and I believe in keeping them as pure as I can. So anything that is mine, you will be very clearly noted, and anything that is come from the higher realms will also be clearly noted. Um, so the question that obviously arises is, where does this wisdom come from? If it's not for me, where does it come from? And I wanted to just go through a very quick chronology of how this information came to me, how this wisdom came to me. And so I'm just going to share a very, very brief timeline, just so you can kind of get an idea of where this information has come from. So I started to journal back in around 2007, 2008. And the reason for that was I was trying to understand and work through my illness. So, most of you know by now, I had chronic fatigue syndrome, or ME, for 4 years. And that's how and why I started journaling. And then I continued with that. So, um, I recovered, and part of my recovery from ME was to follow my life purpose, which was to go from fashion, which was not my life purpose, to coaching. And around 2012, was, I think, is one of the last few classes that we had in coaching. My course teacher outed me as a channel. Now, up until then, I had kind of started to acknowledge that I was quite intuitive. Um, but she said in front of the whole group, quite a large group of people, you do realize that you're a channel. And I actually didn't know what that meant. I hadn't really thought about it before, but something inside of me nodded. And therefore, I took that to mean that something within me knew that I was a channel, even if I didn't quite know what that meant myself. And so, um, following that revelation, everyone in the class asked me to give them a reading of such, some insight for them personally, which I then went on to do. And um, I became a coach and was, very pleased and very helped by the intuition that I had. I then moved on into healing, quantum touch specifically, so quantum touch healing. And I soon realized that that I could hear, see, and feel sometimes, obviously, as well, um, what needed healing. And sometimes it came in the form of words, sometimes it came in the forms of feeling, other times it came in lots of other different ways. And I never really asked where this information came from. It became quite obvious there's a lot of information held in people's um, energy fields, in the information field, um, and therefore help was also available. So I would sometimes offer a message, a healing message. Sometimes I would notice a new energy had come into the healing, which I welcomed. And it was only really because people would ask me, clients would ask me, oh, who's that message from? Or where did that come from? Or who's helping? That I actually asked, which may seem like strange behavior, but I have a lot of trust and faith in the universe, and I can tell the difference. I could tell the difference quite easily between myself and others. I always set anything up so that I would only get help from guides or above in terms of the higher realm. So no, there was no negative influence. Um, but I didn't really have, because I had no background. I had no background in who the saints and archangels were, or the elementals, or anything else. So I didn't really mind where it came from. I was just glad to receive it, and glad that they were helping my clients. So I didn't really ask until they asked. And then it was only then when we asked that we would get answers like the name of a saint, or an ancestor, and then later on past lives. Um, and so and my guide Elizabeth would come in. That's when I my relationship with her really started to accelerate, if you like, because she would come in and offer me help. So um the reason why I didn't ask, and I'll explain this very, very briefly, is that I don't like spiritual ego. I'm not one of these people who, um, who goes, oh, I only work with Archangel Michael, or I only work with Jesus, or I only work with this native indigenous chief. Um, I'm just quite happy with anyone or anything of the higher realms helping. I think I'm really grateful, and I don't believe in spiritual ego. Elizabeth, who is my guide, is absolutely amazing. She is my best friend and just so helpful in so many ways. I don't really need to go higher for anything particularly. I haven't have had no interest in it. I don't know who most of the archangels are still. I don't know any of the saints. I don't know. I just don't know. So before anyone says like, um, oh, so and so came in. Oh, it must be in your head already. You've created it. They don't really exist. I haven't created it. I don't know them. So I haven't created them because I have no idea who any of these people are. So let me just make that clear right from the start. So I wasn't really asking for anyone specifically to help. I would just be open to the help. I would ask that if anyone of a higher realm, guide or above, would be willing to help with any healing, then they were welcome, and then they would come through. So you can kind of fast forward this to sort of around 2020 and the global pandemic. And I was meditating probably more consistently every single day because we were at home. So I could meditate more easily without any interruption. And that's when things had I've been working with Elizabeth for a while. Different saints or guides would come in, and that was fine. But it was really around 2020 where two things happened that was different. And that was Elizabeth passed me on to what I call the three Ps. And they are beings from the Pleiades system. And I call them three Ps because I can't say the word. So apologies. Don't be offended, anyone, that I can't say the word, but it's the Pleiades system. So they're beings from other planets. There's three of them. They're technically not all from Pleiades, but I asked if I can call them the three Ps for shorthand, and they agreed. They have no problem with that. So they came in to offer me greater teaching, to do more with healing, soul signatures, that kind of thing, more kind of practical teachings on how to help. Um, but you need a very high vibration to chat to them, and it would be a little bit frustrating because sometimes I'd lose the vibration and half the teaching would go with it. But um, generally speaking, they came in to help with the sort of more practical things that I could help others with. And then the next thing that happened was that I was given access to the realm of the gurus. Now, before I was given access to the realm of the gurus, I didn't know the realm of the gurus existed. As you've heard, I didn't know it existed. But I was told that I had reached the vibration now where I could chat to them. So usually that's through meditation or post meditation. Um, Again, I'm not asking by name. I'm not asking for help by name. I'm asking a lot of questions, which is quite normal for me. And I'm asking quite a lot of questions about the world and how things work and how to change things for the better. Therefore, they come in and they offer assistance. So sort of if you kind of like when I first started, I was kind of interested in spirituality, and then I was kind of interested in sort of help from the higher realms to help others. And it's kind of changed even now, if you like. I am here to help others, but it's more, I started to ask more questions about how to help the world as a general rule. What is going to be needed, because obviously there's a lot of crisis around the world, and I'm trying to figure that out as well as everyone else is. So that's the reason. It's more kind of the change in the quality of questions and who I'm asking for, and I'm not really asking for myself. I'm usually just asking for others, or if something terrible has happened in the world, how I'm asking, how can I resolve this if I can't resolve it within myself? So that gives you an overview as to the kind of sources where this wisdom comes from. If I know the name, or if I've asked the name and it's available, then I will put the name of where the source has come from. I won't do it all the time, but I will do it in certain situations where it's just become very clear that they were offering the information. Um, and I just wanted to give you a bit of a chronology as well, because people often incorrectly assume that just because you have a gift, a spiritual gift, it all comes fully formed. And I can tell you it doesn't in any shape or form. Um, and it depends on how much effort you put in, how much work you put in. You know, my relationship with my guide Elizabeth took a long time to establish, because it's not always the first thing on your mind. But as you realize that all this help is available, you start to ask more. So it's all about asking for help and being able to receive it. And like I said, you know, I hold all of the wisdom in great integrity. And you have to be able to be a clear channel for this work. You can't taint the wisdom with your thoughts, your own biases, what you want to hear, what you're hoping to hear. You have to be able to put that aside and just be the clear channel to let the information to come through. And that takes work. It genuinely does take a lot of work. You have to do a lot of self-healing. You have to be completely honest with yourself and be able to step aside and allow information to come through. So it definitely wasn't fully formed. It's definitely easier now than it ever was. But I still have to maintain a high vibration in order to have access to the higher realms. So, with that all said, I hope that whatever information is provided in the wisdom transmissions, that is helpful, is useful to you. Take it, use it, do with it what you wish. Like I said, the reason is it feels very pertinent that in 2022 it's a choice point year for all of humanity, and therefore as much help as we can get and receive and put into action, the better. So thank you.